You can learn a lot of things in school: math, science, social studies, and history. And pretty soon here in Saskatchewan, students will also be learning about oil and gas. The provincial government just recently announced more opportunities for high school students to learn about and work in the energy industry. The province is also partnering with $4 billion companies to do this: Cenovus Energy, Vermilion Energy, Whitecap Resources, and Tyne Energy. Everett Hindley is Saskatchewan's Minister of Education and joins us live right now to talk about it. Good afternoon, Minister.
Hey, good afternoon, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you very much for being here. Well, let's just run through some of the basics first, because I'm still kind of getting my head around, who this is available to. So the Premier first announced these courses back in June, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So the original announcement was back in June at the Oil and Gas Show in Weyburn, and at that point, the announcement was that that Tyne Energy was partnering with the Sask Distance Learning Corporation, with the DLC or the government, to help put some funding towards creating an online course for students to be able to take an energy and mines, oil and gas 20 and 30 course in high school. So that was part of the first announcement back in the spring, and obviously there would have been some work leading up to that, some involvement from the industry, wanting to see how they can get better involved. And then what we announced on Friday is that we have had an additional 3 oil and gas companies or energy companies indicate their interest, and not only that, but also to provide some funding for the development of this online course as well. And so that is, as you mentioned, Cenovus, Vermilion, and Whitecap Resources. And between the 4 companies, looking at contributing up to $160,000 to help develop this course in conjunction with the Sask DLC.
So, Minister, right now, is it just the pilot course that's underway, the 20 course?
Yeah, so the work is underway right now, and it will start off as a bit of a pilot, working closely with the DLC and the industry. I think they're actually working on developing it here this spring, and plan to have be taking some registrations as we speak, and then further developing it as the weeks and months go on. But the expectation, and that and we have to kind of determine and work with industry and figure out how many spots can we have available, because the other important component of this is that there, in addition to the online, is there's also a work placement component. So 50 hours online, and then also 50 hours as a work placement. So kind of in the development stages right now, and then as we get further down the road, to be able to have a bit more details in terms of how many students will be able to apply and be able to be accepted into the program, and what that looks like going forward.
Can I ask you about that, Minister? Like, what students are going to be able to take this? Is it an elective, obviously, for high school students? How does the distance learning, I'm curious of who's actually going to be taking these courses.
Yeah, so it's a great question, Peter. And it's really a really good example of where the mandate of the SAS DLC is to support kindergarten to career, and and this isn't the first area, by the way. We've had other industry partners come forward, perhaps in the agriculture industry or construction, electrical, tourism, for example, welding, power engineering, where we've had industry come to government and say, look, how can we help you? We need employees in our industry. And we know that there might be students that are interested in a line of work perhaps in one of these trades, such as oil and gas. And you think of particularly, and not just limited to, but particularly to areas where there is, a vibrant oil and gas sector. So in Southeast Saskatchewan and Weyburn and Estevan, here in Swift Current, where I'm at today, in Swift Current and Shaunavon, in that area, perhaps up in the Lloydminster area. But how do you, as a young person, how do you get involved? So I think this is one of those bridges where if we can provide this course and have it available, as I said earlier, online, but also as a work placement, and there will be a coordinator there to work with the students, the DLC, and the energy companies. How can we partner that all together and then provide these opportunities? So it would be available to students in high school to be able to apply and register for these oil and gas 20 and 30 courses.
Why do you think students need to be learning this?
Well, I think it is an important part of our economy here in Saskatchewan. The oil and gas sector creates thousands of jobs, has a significant component to the province's GDP, and it's important to so much of our province. And I think it's part of the things that we are hearing as a government from industry, and not just the oil and gas or the energy sector, but from other sectors as well. There is a need for skilled labor, and how do you get that? So, and it's not just, and we have great great partners at the University of Saskatchewan, at Sask Poly, at our regional colleges. But in addition to that, we want to be able to create some of these opportunities and present some of these opportunities to students at a much younger age, so that they're thinking about it in high school and perhaps even sooner, to make sure that they know what opportunities, what employment opportunities are available down the road, and then how they get there, how they get from point A, from just an interest down the line to actually securing a job in the workforce for one of these energy companies. So that's why we think it's important that we're helping to support this and work closely with industry partners to develop this new course.
Well, speaking of working with those industry partners, Minister, our province currently does not allow third-party educators to teach things like consent. Do you have any concerns with multi-billion-dollar private industries dictating education?
Well, no, I don't. And again, I would say that, this is an example of where industry has come to us in a number of different sectors to want to be involved with the development and expansion of the curriculum, to provide more learning opportunities for students right across this province, whether it's in their school, in their community, or in their city, or through, in this example, through the Distance Learning Corporation, through the SaskDLC. And we've seen it be developed successfully in other areas, as I said earlier, construction, automotive, auto body, welding, tourism, for example. And this is another example of that. We really want to be able to give students that opportunity, because ideally we'd like to have those students become trained and working right here in Saskatchewan. We don't want to lose them to other provinces. We have plenty of job opportunities right across this province in a variety of sectors. And I think by partnering with industry, we can make sure that we develop the best possible course and the best possible curriculum for students right across Saskatchewan.
I did want to ask about that, because all 4 companies you're working with are based in Alberta. Do you worry that this will just send jobs to Alberta?
No, I don't think so. I think what we're doing here is we have companies that have also a significant footprint here in our province as well, and so I think that's an important point to make, that there are opportunities. These are companies that have operations in a number of areas of Saskatchewan, right across this province. As I said, in whether it's in Swift Current or Shaunavon or Lloydminster or Weyburn or Estevan, they have a footprint there. They create jobs in these communities. They also contribute to their communities in other ways through charitable and donations and things like that. So these are important companies that perhaps may have operations or might be headquartered in other parts of Canada, but they have a significant foothold here in Saskatchewan, and they're committed to this province.
One thing else that people might be talking about with this is, the world's rapidly moving towards alternative energy industries. Are there currently any courses or work placements related to that?
Well, I think that that through the DLC and through the education curriculum, we're always looking at other areas as well, where there might be opportunities to expand the curriculum and create other opportunities in important sectors and areas in the province where there's needs. So I think through
is that something you'd personally? Sorry to interrupt, Minister. Is that something you'd personally like to see? Courses on alternative energy industry and work placements?
Well, I think that we want to make sure that we're looking at all of the options out there. And again, I think the oil and gas sector and the energy sector is one of the most crucial and critical segments of the provincial economy. We've seen it for decades. We think it still has a future, by the way, too. There's lots of room for growth in the oil and gas sector, so we want to continue to support that. Is there a role for other curriculums and education opportunities, whether it's in high school or in post-secondary, in alternative energy, of course, or alternative energy courses? I think there would be. So we'd want to be open to any of those options as well.
You're open to it, but why not offer those instead? And I'm thinking specifically because SaskPower, Sask Energy, as they move to net zero in the next 25 years, they're going to need a lot of young workers.
Well, in the case of what we're talking about today, what we had is industry come to us and say, how can we help ourselves in the sector, but also help the provincial economy? And we have 4 companies here who have come to government and said, we want to help be part of the solution and put some dollars towards the development and the implementation of a course and make that available as an option for students in Saskatchewan. So that's what's been brought to us. We think it's a great opportunity for a private sector, in this case in the energy sector with oil and gas companies, to be able to have their involvement to help develop these courses. And so that's what we're talking about here today. And of course, as things change, as the economy grows, we want to look at other options that might be presented to us as well.
Well, again, Minister, do you have any concerns that private companies that are paying to influence the education system, to just put it bluntly.
Yeah, but Peter, they're not influencing the education system. I think what's important to mention here today is they're providing an opportunity. They're wanting to put some dollars towards helping to work with education to develop a course here that can be available to high school students, to present them with this opportunity, just as we have in other sectors. For example, auto body, working with the Saskatchewan Automotive Dealers Association, working with tourism and other sectors. And I think that's what's important, is that they're working to help solve some of the challenges they face when it comes to securing employment and helping to build their sector.
Well, Minister, I really appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it.
Everett Hindley is Saskatchewan's Minister of Education. Have any thoughts? You can email the 306 at cbc.ca or give us a call and talk back, 1-800-661-7540.